Evil is back. The Drool King Lotor has returned with a dark energy that can destroy the galaxy. Our only hope? The Voltron Force, a team of 5 heroic pilots that control 5 awesome robot lions. When Lotor's monstrous road beasts attack, the lions come together to form Voltron, defender of the universe.
All right, and I feel like we don't even need to introduce these two, but we will anyways. Please welcome Gregg Berger and Garry Chalk.
Meet Grimlock, say time to come to panel room! Yes, come to the panel room, please, because we have some empty seats, and we don't like that.
If you've never been to Disneyland before...
I remember that, the parking lot voice.
Where did you get started? What was your childhood like growing up?
I started as an actor. Well, when I was about 8, I was a singer more than an actor, and then I started doing plays and musicals in high school, and quite fell into the voiceover market by accident. One day at school, I decided to play a prank in high school, which I got suspended for a couple of days. But we had a vice principal named Mr. Burr, and I could copy Mr. Burr's voice perfectly. And I went to the office PA, and I said, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is Vice Principal Mr. Burr. And I've got to say that we've had a bit of an emergency at school, and everybody has to go home at noon. So please don't stay in school after noon. And you hear, what? Everybody's freaking out. And I snuck out of the office, and then everybody started going home. So I went, oh boy, that's kind of fun. And then they found out it was me, and I got suspended for a couple of days, but it was then I knew, maybe I could do something with this. And then my grade 12 English teacher says, you've got to go into broadcasting. And I said, but I'm not a broadcaster. You will be. But then cartoons came along, but again, like Gregg, I came from a very extraordinary childhood. I went to 20 different schools from grade 1 to grade 12 because we just kept moving around all the time. So I learned how to make friends fast, and because you were always the new kid. Didn't matter where you went. Oh, it's the new kid. And one way to ingratiate yourself into the crowd as the new kid is to make them laugh. So that's what I did. And you can do that with funny voices or do it with just, using your wit. It's either your wit or your fists. It's one or the other. And so I did that, and I got into the theater program, mainly for the chicks. But I got into the theater program and found that I excelled in singing and acting, and they really liked it, and I just did it for fun. Didn't do it for money, I just thought it was just fun to do. And never pursued it as a career until I was about 25. And did my first professional voiceover at age 25 in school for an old folks home. And that went well, and then when I graduated from school, I did an IKEA commercial. You know IKEA furniture? I did an IKEA commercial called Death-Defying Plants. When even your favorite Diefenbachia is pushing up the daisies, the IKEA annual plant sale. And it was very funny. It won an award. And so as soon as I did that commercial, all of a sudden I started being called in for, car commercials, lots and lots of car commercials. And truck commercials, Ford F-150, did tons of those. And I got into my first cartoon in Ottawa at the Atkinson Film Arts Studio, where they did Fritz the Cat and Heavy Metal. And it was for Hiawatha, which I think was back in 1983 or something like that, or 82. But I'd never done a cartoon before. I had no idea what it was like. I went in and I auditioned, and I got 4 voices, including Hiawatha and the old lady, which I thought was odd, but But I got cast as the old lady. And then I went, well, this is kind of fun, and I went in and did my thing, and then I got my check, and I went, oh, I like this. And I don't know if you remember these days, Greg. You know, they when they do additional dialogue in cartoons, or in film or cartoons, they call it looping. And the reason they call it looping is they used to take a piece of film and put it through a projector, and it would go in a continuous loop, and then you would match your dialogue or fix your dialogue on the screen with the recording. You remember that?
I did looping from Japanese into English for finished product, but in those days, which I do remember, they had to rewind in real time.
All the time.
It wasn't digital, it wasn't buttons. I still maintain that any engineer for their final exam put the digital stuff aside and put them in a room with pieces of tape and tell them they had to find a finished work print by 9 a.m. the next morning.
Oh my God.
That's what sound editors used to be tasked with.
It was funny. Remember that, the two black lines?
Totally.
You get these two black lines.
And they
go across the
cross and there's a
screen.
spot.
As soon as they touch, you start talking. It would take all day.
There's still looping and there's still automatic dialogue replacement, but they press two buttons and you're back to you're back to the beginning, and then it starts beeping again. I don't know if you know, in dialogue replacement, there's 3 beeps, and the 4th imaginary beep is where you start. That's how they clock it.
No, it was pretty hilarious. So anyway, that's what started my animation career back then. And since then, it's been 35 years doing cartoons, and I still love doing it, and we'll continue to do it. And blessings for you guys who support us and as fans, and keep that industry going. And just honored and happy to be here. Well, I'll tell you what was funny was that I remember when I was first starting doing Transformers. I had done the commercials, and they just, there were, Transformers Generation 2, blah, 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 and then doing the commercials. And I got hired to play Optimus Prime, and I went, oh great, another cartoon. Because I didn't know there was anything attached to cartoons. I didn't know that there was this whole world like this. Because when I was a kid, I watched, Snagglepuss and whatnot on TV, and I went, oh great, cartoons. But I didn't think of anything behind the scenes. And I remember I went to my very first convention in Anaheim, California. And it was,
I wasn't there, Gary.
Huh?
I wasn't there.
You weren't there. It was a BotCon, I think. It was a BotCon. And I was with the guy who was running the BotCon, and I walked into this big ballroom, and there was like 1,000 people there. I went, oh wow, that's a lot of people. Who's that for? And he said to this table of ladies sitting on the corner, he said, hey, this is Optimus. And they all went, and I went, oh, that's a bit odd. Anyway, so I walked to this room, and everybody said, ladies and gentlemen, this is Garry Chalk, Optimus Prime. And the whole place went insane. And I went, what the hell is this?
I'd like to hear you say Optimus Primal Maximize.
Oh, you want to hear me say that?
Yeah.
Yes. Optimus Primal Maximize. There you go.
What I had
It's that easy.
It's just that easy. You know how long it took to get that?
when it comes to voicing Grimlock and Optimus Primal, what were you given to put something of yourselves into those characters? Were you told to make Optimus Primal different from Optimus Prime, for example?
What I found when I went and auditioned for the character, first I looked at the breakdown and what they wanted, and they wanted sort of like a leader who was firm but kind and compassionate, and also there was a monkey and also a robot. So I was trying to find a nice combination between robot and monkey. And I'd listened to some of the Transformers G1s, the truck. And the truck was a lot more robotic, we got to do this, we got to do that, let's go. And it was very, very stern and whatnot. And I thought, but this one's a warm-blooded robot. So he's got human aspects, human frailty, human weakness, human strengths. And I thought, well, I'm just going to make him like everybody's best dad, and that, or best uncle, or best grandfather, and that's the element I brought into him. And it had his physicality as well, which goes well with my voice. And it's the relationships that I had with each character in the script. Like Rat Trap was the bratty kid, you know, that the guy who I'm always, you know, giving hell to. Cheetor was the sensitive, misunderstood kid. Rhinox was my brother. Black Arachnia was hot. Tarantulas, you know, all those characters. I had a different relationship with every one of them. And with Megatron, it was oh my, how long do I have to put up with this guy? You know, it was very frustrating and very maddening. That how can this guy be so evil? There's no reason to be evil, you know. But and that was the aspect or the facet of the character I gave to him. So it was finding the different relationships between you and the other character, which sort of basically shapes your character. And once I got that, it was fine. I just carried on, and this is me. So there you go.
Hi, can I get a "That's Just Prime" from you? And then I have an actual question.
That's just prime. So how about variation on the theme? Ready? That's just prime. 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 Variations on a theme.
That's just prime.
So, there was an episode of Beast Wars, I remember, where you actually voiced G1 Megatron, like when you did the Golden Disc thing. And then, like, years later on Transformers Animated, David Kaye played Optimus Prime. Was there some sort of, like, inside joke going on between, or...?
Possibly. Possibly there was a, no, I think it was, I would think it was the writers really being clever. And, what's her name, DiTilio? I can't remember. Huh?
Bob Forward and Larry DiTilio.
That's the one. I think there was, they were just, you know, adding to another dimension of the story. And for the life of me, you know, I guess I'm just getting old, but I cannot remember what I did in that episode.
It was very brief.
It was good?
It was good.
Was it okay?
It was
okay. That's all that matters. It was good. Yes. Sight guns.
All right, we got another question here.
Hi.
Excuse me. Well, a question for Garry Chalk. Have you ever met the original Optimus Prime, Peter Cullen?
Did I meet the original Optimus Prime? Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I did. I met Peter, and I met Neil, and I met David, and I met me. And there were a bunch of us, I think, Peter, David, and Peter, David, Neil, and myself were all in Dallas, Texas, I think. And did we have like dueling Optimi? We were the Optimi. It's a new tribe, the Optimi tribe. But you know, here's an interesting bit of trivia for you. 3 of the 4 Optimuses are all Canadian. It's because we're a gentle folk. You know, we're always apologizing. But we're the reasonable ones. But Peter Cullen, myself, and David Kaye are all Canadian. Oh yeah, I remember in the 90s, when working cartoons in the 90s, there was a period, I think it was in 1994, where I went from 8 in the morning until 4 in the afternoon, 7 days a week, until July. And on 3 of those weeks, I was working from 4 in the afternoon until 4 in the morning, shooting a movie, running home, jumping in my bed, getting 2 hours of sleep, getting up, going to do cartoons at 8 o'clock until 4, and running back to the movie set, doing the movie till 4 in the morning. And it got to the point where if I sat still, I'm gone. And it was a bit crazy. And like you said, you think it's going to be like that all the time, and it's not. And I seem to recall that when the last main big series I did was a show called Penguins 1, 2, 3, which was quite a funny cartoon. I played this little hamster inside a giant robot. A little tiny voice, and then he turned into this big guy as soon as he got into the robot head. And it was actually quite funny. It was for the Christian Broadcast Network, and I remember that, and that was a great series. And then all of a sudden, the trend changed, and the voices became smaller and younger, and ageism sort of creeps in it creeps in there. And I didn't do another series for several years, but I did. I mean, I still have another career. I did film and television and all that, so it wasn't really killing me. But I thought, what happened? I suck now. I suck. Nobody wants me. I suck. I hate me. Kill me now. But it wasn't that bad. It was just the trend changed, and now it's sort of come back again in full circle, and I'm doing series again. But it's crazy. It's hectic. And one thing that I love about it is the craziness. And what's happened now is what used to take 8 hours to record now it only takes 2 hours. So you can record a show now, finish at 1 o'clock, run like hell across town, do another one, run like hell across town and do a couple of radio commercials, and then go home. So that's okay. That's kind of fun. But the 90s were